how the US is preparing for military challenges from Russia and China. The global balance of power is changing. As we move toward 2026, the United States is no longer preparing for one major rival, but for two. Russia and China represent very different challenges, yet both are reshaping the future of military and defense strategy. Russia focuses on rapid escalation, regional dominance, and the use of conventional force backed by nuclear deterrence. China, on the other hand, is building long-term power through technology, naval expansion, space capabilities, and influence across the Indo-Pacific. For the first time since the Cold War, the United States faces near-peer competitors in multiple regions. At the same time, this is forcing a major shift in how the US military thinks, plans, and prepares. Instead of reacting to conflicts, the focus is now on deterrence, readiness, and global positioning. The goal is simple: prevent conflict by making war too costly. To do this, the United States is restructuring its forces, modernizing its weapons, and strengthening alliances across Europe and the Pacific. From Eastern Europe to the South China Sea to space and cyberspace, American military planning is now truly global. But how exactly is the US preparing to face challenges from both Russia and China at once? To understand that, we must first look at how these threats are different and why they demand entirely new strategies. When it comes to Russia, the challenge for the United States is immediate and dangerous. Russia remains a nuclear superpower with one of the largest arsenals in the world. Its military strategy is built around speed, pressure, and the ability to escalate conflicts quickly before opponents can fully respond. Eastern Europe has become a central focus. US forces are now permanently rotating through NATO's eastern flank, including Poland, the Baltic states, and Romania. These deployments are not designed to start wars, but to prevent them. The message is clear: any attack on NATO territory will trigger a collective response. At the same time, the US is reinforcing missile defense systems, air surveillance, and rapid response units across Europe. Large-scale joint exercises with NATO allies are now more frequent and more complex than ever before. Beyond conventional forces, nuclear deterrence remains a critical pillar. The United States continues to modernize its nuclear triad: land-based missiles, strategic bombers, and submarine-launched weapons. This ensures that no adversary can miscalculate the cost of escalation. Russia also wages war below the threshold of open conflict through cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and energy pressure. To counter this, the US and its allies are strengthening cyber defenses and improving intelligence sharing networks. In Europe, the strategy is not about dominance. It is about stability, unity, and deterrence. But while Russia demands immediate attention, another challenge is quietly growing even larger. While Russia represents an immediate threat, China represents the long-term challenge. China is not preparing for a short conflict. It is preparing for decades of competition. The center of this rivalry is the Indo-Pacific region, home to the world's busiest trade routes and some of its most contested waters. The US Navy now places its highest priority here. Aircraft carriers, submarines, and destroyer groups are increasingly deployed across the Pacific, from Japan and South Korea to Guam and beyond. One critical flashpoint is the South China Sea. China has built artificial islands, expanded military facilities, and increased naval and air patrols. In response, the United States conducts freedom of navigation operations to challenge excessive territorial claims and keep global sea lanes open. Another major concern is Taiwan. The US does not seek conflict, but it is strengthening deterrence by increasing military cooperation, arms sales, and joint planning with regional partners. Unlike Russia, China's strength lies heavily in technology. Beijing is investing massively in hypersonic weapons, artificial intelligence, cyber warfare, and space systems. To counter this, the US military is accelerating innovation. New doctrines focus on distributed forces, unmanned systems, and networked warfare. Instead of relying on a few large bases, the US is spreading forces across smaller, flexible locations, making them harder to target and faster to respond. In the Pacific, the future of warfare will be decided by speed, information, and coordination, and the race is already underway. Facing Russia and China at the same time requires more than weapons and soldiers. It requires alliances. One of the United States' greatest advantages is that it does not stand alone. Across Europe, NATO remains the strongest military alliance in history. Across the Indo-Pacific partnerships with Japan, South Korea, Australia, and regional allies are growing deeper and more integrated. These alliances allow the US military to share intelligence, coordinate operations, and respond faster to emerging threats. But alliances alone are not enough. The future of deterrence is being shaped by technology. Artificial intelligence is changing how decisions are made. Autonomous systems are redefining the battlefield. Cyber warfare now threatens entire nations without a single shot fired. Space has become a new domain of conflict. Satellites enable navigation, communication, targeting, and global awareness. Protecting these systems is now as critical as defending land, sea, or air. To adapt, the US military is moving faster than ever before, testing new concepts, deploying experimental units, and integrating advanced technologies at scale. The objective is not to fight everywhere, but to be ready everywhere. So, how prepared is the United States for military challenges from Russia and China? It is not invincible, but it is adapting faster than any rival by combining global alliances, technological innovation, and decades of operational experience. The US aims to prevent conflict, not provoke it. Because in the modern world, the strongest military is not the one that fights the most, but the one that convinces others that fighting is not worth the cost. Like, subscribe, and stay informed.